Everyone. Hi, everyone. Welcome to the Spiritual View. My name is Ceree, and I recommend a group of wonderful certified tarot readers from Soulful Revolution TV. And we're here to do a monthly reading and have a conversation with you about what's going on with the energy on the planet. And we're going to have a great conversation. So I'd love to start out by introducing our esteemed group of tarot readers with us today.
Hi, I'm Marsha.
Hello, my name is Dawn with Astrology and Tarot Alchemy.
Hey everyone, Elizabeth, True to It Connections. Good to see you.
Hi everybody, I'm Angi from Learn Love Tarot. Nice to be here.
Hi guys, I'm Jenn with the Awakened Jenn Tarot.
All right, we're excited to be with you today, and we've got some wonderful messaging that we've prepared for all of you. And we're going to go with first a channel message by Jenn. We're going to next go to Dawn, who's going to facilitate a conversation around the astrology of April and what's happening with the energy of the planet. And we'll have a conversation roundtable with what's happening. Then we will transition to Marsha, who is going to take us through a tarot conversation and around the view of the astrology houses with the concept of transition and change. So April in itself is a great opportunity for us to focus on what happens around change and transition, and how do we as a collective embrace those concepts and look at them from a very positive and productive point of view. We're delighted to be with you today, and we will share our thoughts and insights. So let's get started. And with that, over to you, Jenn, for our channel message for today.
All right, thank you, Ceree. All right, so I prepared a channeled message today, and it is a channeled message from Archangel Michael. He's one of my guides that I work with the most, and I just wanted to go to him to get just some guidance from him on what tower moments mean for us in our lives and how we can manage them. So my question was, what does Archangel Michael want us to know about tower moments and his advice for how to manage them? Tower moments are what we'd call a necessary evil in life. It is a sometimes violent process of releasing stuck energy. Tower moments can be best understood as initiation processes. It uses fire energy to drive movement and action. Towers show up in our lives when we refuse to let go of things, situations, or people who are no longer beneficial to our journey. They are preventing us from the path, purpose, and mission meant for us. The wise can see the value in these moments. It is the quickest way to shift the energy and get us back to our true purpose and mission. Towers can be moments of striking clarity. Things are no longer hidden in the shadows. You can no longer stay in the denial of the need for change and redirection. Sudden epiphanies are representative of the tower energy as well. After days, weeks, months, or even years of being stuck with no direction, the right idea comes to you seemingly out of the blue. Though towers do not usually feel good, they are not to be feared. They are meant to bring transcendence to your life, get you out of lower vibrational state to a place of further growth and expansion. You can even look at it as though when a tower shows up in your life, that it's proof that you have outgrown the old and are energetically ready to ascend. You may not feel like it at the moment, but your soul has actually been calling in this moment for you as well. It wouldn't be showing up in your reality if it was not meant to grow your soul experience in some way. You cannot avoid towers. The best you can do is just recognize what is happening. Remind yourself of the purpose of this moment. Make peace with the things that are leaving your experience. You can thank them for the gifts and lessons that they brought and send them on their way with love, knowing that they have more purpose to serve in other ways now too. Your paths may cross again in the future or not, but you can remain thankful for the experience no matter, and know that it has served its purpose well. Keep your faith strong that ultimately you are very supported and loved by the creator and source of all that is. Do you believe that God does ultimately want good for you? Your beliefs are truly what shape the perspective of your reality. If you believe God is punishing you, then you will perceive these tower moments as punishment. But if you know that God is always blessing you, then you can accept the tower with greater ease because you know it is for your ultimate good. All right. So I'll turn it back over to you. Oh, no, to Dawn. Sorry.
Well, hello. So I hope everybody is surviving the Mercury retrograde. I have been white knuckling it through, and I know a lot of people who have been doing the same. And the reason I brought up Mercury retrograde is because it started at the very beginning of April. It was April 1st that it started its retrograde. So it's been in effect all of this time. And so it's kind of had a controlling energy over the eclipse that happened, and all these other things that are coming up, which I'll cover. But to me, it was telling me that we are starting with this eclipse energy. We are going to be thinking about it and utilizing it before we put it into a manifestation piece that all the other planets are leading us to, and kind of culminating at the end of April. So on April 8th, it was the sun, moon, and Chiron, all at that 1924 degree in Aries. Now, the fact that Chiron was exact to the minute as the sun and moon at the time of an eclipse, not just any new moon, it was a full total solar eclipse. It brings forth the opportunity for great healing. And the part of that you should remember is healing is not about you and another person that caused you pain. It's about you. Your healing has nothing to do with that other person. It doesn't. It's about you moving forward with releasing the pain that you've had and being able to work with that energy, because then that becomes your superpower. You then are able to help others with that same wound that you've had. So what happened after the eclipse? Right away, 2 days later, Saturn and Mars went conjunct. Now, these are considered the two malefics, as we say, but you are better using intention to steer the energies of those two planets than letting them run amok in your chart. Mars gives energy. Saturn gives guidelines. So if you set a long-term intention, because this will last 2 years, actually a little over 2 years, it's like a 2.5-year cycle, that if you set a long-term intention, and the beauty of this is Saturn gives the longevity of you sticking with a program. Mars gives you the energy. So taking off a bite-size piece of what you want to accomplish every day or every couple days, you've got 2.5 years to accomplish this. It's not like a new moon where the full moon is happening in 6 months. And with the eclipse, this eclipse energy isn't just for 6 months. It's more like 2 to 4 years because of the length of the eclipse and the other things that were going on at the time. So, and you're having all of these big conjunctions, and all these conjunctions are happening within this 30-day period of time, which is amazing. So what happened after the Mars-Venus conjunction? We've been having other things kind of going in with sextile, but I don't want to really cover that too much because I think that we need to focus a little bit more on this Uranus-Jupiter conjunction. This is going to be with one of the benefics, right? And the benefic is Jupiter. Uranus is that sudden epiphany. It's that tower. It's something that comes in like that. We can have been setting intentions with what we want to do because Mercury's been retrograde, and now we have the energy of this Saturn and Mars, and we have this healing process. And again, healing, we have to clean out that wound. So you will have been triggered. You will continue to be triggered because we have other things coming up that are going to be touching on Chiron. Mercury will be going back over Chiron after it finishes its retrograde on the 25th. Thank you. And that is going to be something that we are going to have Venus also going over Chiron eventually. Okay. So what is the point of the Uranus-Jupiter conjunction and that idea? I think what we've been planning, we will get an epiphany about a new direction, something that will be for our best and highest good. And I think anytime you set up a manifestation, you should also put in this or something better for my greatest and highest good of mine and for others, right? So you have all of those things working together. So what's going to give us that little bit more push? Fortunately, we have Mercury going direct on the 25th. He will be covering back those areas that he's been going retrograde over. So this will be the third pass. And right after that, on the 28th, Venus is going to be, what did I have Venus down for that day? Mars. Oh, on the 28th, Venus is entering Taurus. Venus will be entering Taurus on the 28th. This is her home sign. She is a benefic. And then she's heading for Jupiter and Uranus. And in June, she will be joining the sun in a conjunction. So Venus is entering the sign that she rules, and she's going to be meeting up with Uranus and Jupiter eventually. As a matter of fact, there's a really cool thing that's happening in May with 4 different planets, and we'll discuss that later because it's a beautiful opportunity to continue our manifestation. So the 28th, Venus moving into Taurus. On the 30th, Mars moves into Aries. Mars, who was the ruler of the eclipse. He rules Aries. Everything that's been going on in Aries, he's been involved in. Now, right before he does that, also on the 28th, oh, and I forgot to mention, on the 20th, Venus is hitting that same degree of Chiron, that 19 degree, that magical degree on that day. That is another huge opportunity for healing. Again, you've been getting this wound cleaned out, you've been working on it, and there comes in that opportunity for healing again. With Venus at the same time that there's this Jupiter-Uranus conjunction that same day. There are no coincidences, okay? So a healing point, she'll move into Taurus, and then then Mars, who is the ruler of Aries, will be entering the sign that it rules, Aries, and will be covering all of those degrees moving forward. Aries is, Mars is going to be really rushing kind of quickly through that house. Normally it's about a 45 days for Mars to cover through a sign. It's going to cut that off by about 6 or 7 days. It's going to be pushing through that sign very, very quickly. So to me, that is our sign that, okay, this is the time to everything that I've thought about, worked on, got my inspiration for, got my healing done. It's go time now on the 30th of April and moving into May. It is go time because Mars, who is the ruler of all these things, is going to be going back over all of those degrees. So again, it'll be lighting all those things back up. That is where the manifestation that we have intended will be put, that energy will be put out there and for us to work with. And it's like if someone who's trying to make a change with their diet, you can, and I want to bring back that Mars Saturn energy because it's like, okay, today I'm going to take a walk around the block. I don't have to walk 2 blocks. I'm just going to walk 1 block today. Maybe tomorrow I'll walk 2 blocks. There's that energy of something tiny, small that you can do that's going to be longevity, that's something different, something new that you're going to bring into your habits. Okay? So with all this manifestation going on, with the intention, and I think all this time that we've been working on up until we get to that April 30th date is us working on what our intentions and manifestation wishes are. I highly recommend writing yourself a letter from the future as to what that's going to look like. Put it in concrete terms, and it's in the present tense. I love that I'm able to travel wherever I want to without any worry about finance. I love the relationship that I'm in. You know, you're putting that down and you're talking about it in the present tense. Okay. That's part of that manifestation process. We will have extra juice through May and June from both Mars and Venus. And if we go way, way back, remember Pluto talked to everybody before when they were coming into Aquarius, and then we had the meetup of Mars and Venus at 6 degrees, right? And surprisingly, Mars is going to be stationing retrograde at the end of the year at 6 degrees of Leo, that's where he's stationing, directly opposite where him and Venus were together. This gives the divine masculine another opportunity for healing, because that was the degree that Ceree was discovered. Okay, so we have all of these things going on, but I would concentrate on getting your plan, getting your thought process together. It'll help when Mercury goes direct on the 25th, but we have all of those extra little energies, epiphanies, things we found out that we can put into our manifestation when it's time to go on April 30th. Anybody have any questions, comments, please? I welcome questions.
I'll say something. So one of the questions that I have is just how active this year has been with the astrology. I haven't actually followed astrology very much, up until, this past few years. Is this year abnormally active? I mean, I'm not making that up, right?
No,
Okay.
no, it has been, and it will be. It's like this is the opening of a great deal of changes that are going to be coming over the next couple of years. I would say the next 6 to 8 years, because we have the major planets, the slow moving planets out there are all within the next couple of years changing sign in a very short window of time, when you consider that, Pluto is going to be changing and permanently into Aquarius at the end of the year. You have Uranus is going to be changing signs, and it changes every 8. You're going to have Neptune changing signs, and all of that's going to happen within 3 years. Within 3 years. So I think that's the very important thing that you need to look at as far as the big changes that are coming generationally for everyone, that we're going to need to work with that energy. But this was the beginning. This is Pluto talking to all those planets before they got into Aquarius. And it was them all talking with each other and continuing to talk with each other. And this healing that's going on, all of those things are very definitely part of what's happening now. So this is like the very beginning where we're getting the setup. It's like you're at a play and they spend the first, half an hour setting up the story, so that later on, when you're very involved with what's going on, you understand what's been happening. Oh, I get it. This is how this relates to this. So that's where we're at right now. We're at that introduction period, but it's been extremely busy, and you will watch all the astrologers out there going, it's almost too much to take in. And there's like these other smaller things that are happening. And it's even more interesting when you're trying to compare that to someone's natal chart, because the astrology just out there for everyone is so huge that to bring it back down to a level of, okay, and this is how it relates to your natal chart, because it does. And it won't affect you on as big a scale. But I also believe that when everybody is like, don't go to that fear-based, you want to stay in your calmness and know that your chart is giving you a guideline on how to surf those energies, so that you won't have the fear involved with all the things that are going on out there. Because I think that this is also with this kind of strong energy and the strong energy that's going to be happening, this is an opportunity for huge growth with people. That this is an opportunity where big business, I think, is really going to be torn down, and people are going to come into their own sovereignty more. That's what Aquarius is all about. Don't forget this Pluto and Aquarius business of being your own person, but being part of the collective. This is all what this is about. So, and we all understand, and with Aquarius, that everybody has a right, but everybody's also an individual. Libra has more of like go along to get along, which is what we've been leaving. That's why the South Node has been there, to get rid of that energy. And us being in areas like, okay, I don't care if I'm weird. Okay, there's other people that understand what I'm talking about. Now we're a tribe. So there's all these different things that I think for us, it's like, oh, we laugh together because we all are different, but we get each other, and we're not afraid in this group to say anything to each other. This may sound strange to other people, but not to you guys. You won't think it's odd. And that's a beautiful part of Aquarius. Sorry, I went too long on that, but I'm very passionate about the astrology. So.
Hey, Dawn, thank you for that. And I thought the explanation was excellent. With the eclipse happening about 4 days ago, what I've been experiencing and noticing is how strong the energies still are, but also how divergent people's reactions are. And could you give some perspective from an astrology point of view of kind of the seminal moment of April 8th, why it has been so important, and what we should expect as we look at those who embrace love, harmony, compassion, and those who are choosing to stay in the vibration of fear, because it seems to be two camps. And people who've done their work seem to be showing up in a way that's very centered and grounded. But I also have empathy for those around us who aren't centered and grounded, and how we might be able to help them. I don't know if any of you all have experienced that, but it's just been my observation this week, because the energies have just been so strong over the last week.
I really, that's a beautiful way to put that. I think what you will find that those that have that fear-based energy, that's where you get that anger. They don't understand what's going on. Things are changing. They don't want them to change. They have a fear of the changes going on. And honestly, I think that a lot of what Mars and Venus are doing in this dance that they've been having, especially this year, is they are trying to heal that wound that has been going on between the patriarchy, and there's a lot of, I mean, people don't want to give up power, and they don't want to have things change. You know, people that this has been working great for them, you know, 80-year-old white males, this has been working. It's great. And the people that are afraid of things changing are following that point of view. But there's so much that the divine feminine has to offer. And I think if we keep that, because we have both, if we keep okay, there's going to be people waking up, as we say, where they're all of a sudden, you know, this isn't working. And I think that's what they'll realize. This right now isn't working. And look at these people that are happy over there. I want that. So you have them come in and be accepting. And it's like, okay, when we first started learning things, we got little sips at a time. And this whole process, you know, I wish I could tell people that there was a book that you follow. There is not, because we each have to have our own path. They have to too. And they may get where they connect with one person, just like we all connected with Mary Jo, right? Versus other people that were out there on the internet. And I think the people that need to have a certain person kind of communicate to them, I think they'll find those people. And they'll kind of go, well, that doesn't sound so bizarre or odd. Oh, that actually works out. Oh, I tried that. You know, I was calmer when I did this. just walking in nature. Oh, that makes sense. That's not a big deal. So I think, again, you have that Mars and Saturn small steps that you can give them. Because, you know, they're not going to, if they knew everything that what we usually do on a day-to-day basis, they'd be like, no, that's too big of a change too soon for me. They will come when they're ready, and they will also find people at their same level. But the problem now is that the people that are in fear, they want to be with a group of something. So it's this fear group that they're hanging out with. And then it's like, even though they might not like each other, honestly, it's something that they can join in together and be like that. So any other questions or comments? Yeah.
I just have a quick quote that you're probably familiar with, Dawn, from Rick Levine for this month. I love it. The true journey is seeing the same place with new eyes. I think that really talks a lot about everything, you know, in a positive way.
Yeah, I think that's very true. So I think what we can do now for ourselves to put ourselves in the best possible position is bring that energy of healing, that energy of we can change the world a little bit at a time, right? It's not big bites, it's small bites, it still works. And you will get to meet with other people that are your vibration so you don't feel alone. That's what Aquarius is for. That's why all this astrology works, right? That's what Aquarius is for, finding your tribe. Sometimes your tribe isn't blood related, but there's other people that you know that you can go to, small communities. I'm from a small community, and if there was an issue of some problem or global thing, they would all come together. There's no doubt in my mind. And I think we all have to have that mentality and not be the Four of Pentacles, you know, clutching at things and afraid to give. I don't think that works. I don't think you actually end up with anything more than what you had. But if you're willing to share it, everybody eats. Okay, go ahead, Angi.
Sorry, I forgot I had to do the work on that and click the button to make me go. So you got my brain a thinking here. Now I'm geeking out double because not only do I get to talk astrology with people and their eyes don't glaze over, I'm thinking, oh my gosh, this is like extra geeking out because you just said it's like a story. So if we look at that as a plot diagram, and then we have this 3 years here, you said 2.5 to 3 years, we can see that through the theme of Aquarius, right? Finding our tribe. And then Elizabeth just named our novel for us, Same Place, New Eyes. If we're so to make us, maybe we could help people understand this, right? This 3 years by placing where, you know, you said the setup. Okay, that's our exposition. We're going to have some rising action. We get to our climax, falling action, and our resolution. Well, Aquarius isn't going to be in resolution in 3 years, but we have so much planetary activity going on. I'm wondering if in our next collab we can figure out like that plot diagram for people to help them understand where this stuff is going to fall so they can kind of start writing their story. And it's easier to plan that next 3 years or to have that big dream. I don't know what you guys think about that, but I was like, ooh, double geeking out over here. This is now double excited.
I think too that there's so much more astrology left in this year that we're going to have to address it because there's Pluto going back into Capricorn. It just is not pretty. And no matter how you look at it, it's not going to be pretty. At least 50% of people are going to be unhappy no matter what the decision. And I'm not going either side for the elections or anything like that. But there's going to be a lot of unhappy people. Now, do I think you should vote your conscience? Yes. And I think you should stand up for what you believe in, but I do not believe, and that's where the fear thing happens for people, that they're afraid. I think that the only way you're going to change things, if they're not the way that you want them, is to bring in positive change. positive intention, because forcing someone to do something never works. It just never works. So I think we have to know that no matter what happens, and we have a lot of really odd, weird energy out there going on, we have to stand by our own integrity and look at what we can do to make things better. Because I do think it's going to be a bumpy ride towards the end of the year. I think it'll be great, through the summer. I do. But I think we just, that's the time. What is it? I had this imagination of the grasshopper, right? Where the grasshopper and the ant stores things away and the grasshopper doesn't make a plan. Make a plan. So with that, I believe we're going to go to Marsha for talking about the tarot and the tower.
Yes, thank you so much. Dawn, I just want to say that just kind of ties in beautifully. There's no doubt that there is a lot of change coming collectively and most likely personally. So just as Jenn mentioned in her channeled message, tower moments happen. And how can we kind of get in front of them and kind of embrace them? So we're going to talk a little bit about the tower card traditionally in tarot, look at some symbolism, and then give you guys some ideas of how to work with this energy. So first of all, the tower card is the 16 trump card in the major arcana. It's ruled by Mars, and it is also a fire element. My numerologist here will tell us that 16 reduces to a 7, and the number 7 is generally understood to be a spiritual number. It signifies insight and intuition. So generally speaking, when you see the tower card, it does represent an upheaval, sudden change. And while it's not a feel-good card, it's not meant to be, but there is a profound capacity, again, for change and transformation. So before we jump into the round table, let's take a deep dive at just kind of some of the symbolism here. First of all, when you see the tower, it's a tall, sturdy structure built brick by brick. But in this picture, the roof is completely blown off. There is smoke all around, and a man and woman are falling headlong out of the tower. Symbolically, when you take a deeper look at just those kind of images, the tower represents our ego, our personalities. It's a structure, again, as I said, that we have built carefully brick by brick. It serves us, keeps us safe. But over time, these structures limit us. Next, when you take a look at that roof, the roof represents our thoughts. It's being blown completely off by the lightning. Lightning symbolizing a great wake-up call that will result in changing your perspective, likely forever. So profound are kind of just those three elements. It reminds me of a quote, and I always mess it up. I should take the time to memorize it, but it's by Napoleon Hill. And it speaks to that in every heartache, failure, or adversity, in there is a seed for a greater benefit. And that, my friends, is kind of, what we're going to take a look at next. We want to help you embrace the power of the tarot card. So we're going to take a look at another depiction of a tarot card, and this is from a deck, The Good Tarot. And in this artist's depiction, what we're going to see here is a radically different image. The tower itself is well intact, and really what remains of the structure that was limiting is just this remnant of a calcified wall, so that you have really grown into this structure, this adversity, and you've let it help shape what the next outcome is. Likewise, in this artist interpretation, the crown you see is not blown off by lightning, rather, it is proudly waving flags. And of course, you can see the brilliant sun. This is our source energy. This is our higher self, as we've spoken to here tonight, that just kind of bursts out and over and through every part of this tower card. So, remember that it's always darkest right before the dawn. So I see, this embracing of change and how do we get in front of it? It's really meant to shape our spiritual journey. The Tower card, above all else, is an opportunity to hear the calling of your spiritual awakening. Now, in a practical sense, oftentimes I tell people when the Tower card comes up in a reading, go look at your birth chart, see where kind of Mars is transiting in your birth chart, and see if there's a correlation. Likewise, you can also look at where Aries is in your chart and see if this area isn't overdue for some change and transformation. So with that in mind, we're going to talk now about how these tower moments affect us in each one of the houses of astrology. In our last collaborative effort, we got together and we kind of went through the zodiacal new year. So we're going to talk about that. First, I'm going to talk about the first house. This is the house that's traditionally ruled by Mars and Aries. It's often called the house of the self, and it is quite literally your outward appearance, your physical traits, characteristics, and your sense of expression. A tower moment in this area of your life, in the first house, often feels it's public. It feels very personal, and that's because it is. But these tower moments are not always bad. Let's think about times like when you get married, when you have a child, big changes in how you present to the world, what phase of life you're in. I often think of big changes, excuse me, that tower moments in the first house can also coincide with big astrological changes that we all go through, like your Saturn return, your Chiron return. So knowing when these things are coming, you can prepare that first house energy a little bit better. So let's talk now a little bit about the second house. So the second house in astrology is ruled by Venus and Taurus, and it generally is referred to as your house of material possessions, values and self-worth, and your personal resources. So tower moments that occur in the second house can look like a promotion. Your boss got fired and you got his job. Or it can look like the company slashed 1,000 workers and you were in that cut. It can look, excuse me, it can look like buying your first home. It can look like filing for bankruptcy. Generally, these things are coming, though. You have a sense that this change is coming. And if you're listening to that voice, as far as the self-worth issue, in the second house, a tower moment can show up like, oh my gosh, I'll never get through this. I can't do it. But the more empowered voice is saying, well, I've got to try. Let me try. And so I would go back to encouraging everybody, whenever the tower moment shows up in a reading, don't look at it as despair. Really embrace the opportunity, the seed for a greater, more empowered look, where your source energy is coming through to empower you. Okay, and I think I'll hand it off for the the third and fourth houses does it go back to you, Dawn?
Here I am, I'm popping back on. So I drew 2 cards for the tower, and what I wanted to say about the third house and tower moments is it can be related to siblings. It can be related to your local neighborhood, small business, any of those things. Also like cars. So what you may have happen for a tower moment could be involving something going wrong in any of those areas. the thing about tower moments is that they will require action. You're going to have to deal with something. But part of the benefit of that is that it allows something better to come in. I firmly believe that. And so the card that I drew, hello, right here, Temperance, Archangel Michael, allowing yourself to have grace and knowing that this is just going to take a little time and that alchemy is going to be there to put things right. You have to handle the tower, but it's going to bring in better things, and having the faith that that is going to happen. So I just love getting this for the third house, because I feel that's how you should, that's the energy that you should bring, knowing that Archangel Michael has your back. The third house is a very, very active, busy, constantly changing house. And just know that time and grace will take care of almost any problem. So for the fourth house is about ancestors, home, personal property. And the card that I drew for that, Ace of Cups, heart space, keeping that heart space open, keeping open feelings for people that are not only your family, but your friends, right? Your tribe. I think this is saying to us that, you know, having an open home, open heart is what's really required of us, especially with any kind of tower moment that may come across, because a lot of times this will deal with family. And, you know, we do have to have boundaries, but we can have an accepting nature and know that someone's way is not our way. But we're still part of this whole Aquarian age, and we recognize that there are differences with other people and being okay with that. They don't have to be exactly like you, but they can still sit at your table. So I think that is beautiful energy for both the third and fourth house. I think we're getting, everybody's going to get a message of healing and how things can be healed with this. So I think the next person is Elizabeth to go on with the house 5 and 6.
Yes. Hey, everybody. So this is just giving me goosebumps. The 5th house is a lot about fun, and it's about past life karma. It is also very child-centric, and it is also sometimes about gambling and risk. So it ties in a lot to this energy and how much are you going to risk, how much gambling are you going to do, or, you know, things like that. And there's a lot of truth that is being told here today, because this came out as Dawn was speaking. And about children, my son is driving home from Arizona to move back in. I'm going with the flow. I'm just adding a personal note to that. And then look, ladies, King of Wands, Aries energy, go time, but also self-improvement, self-growth. And I want to remind you all, Aries and Mars energy can relate to, and the 6th house, not only your daily work, your daily practices, your health, your hygiene, even the clothes you wear, your style. And Mars relates to your muscular system and your head, you know, and small pets. So, but amazingly, this came out about all of that. And it's like, go time, let's take care of ourselves and, you know, put the energy in the right direction, as you all have said. I'm going to mute because there's my dog that's apparently feeling the energy again. I'm sorry, I'm turning
Okay.
it over to Angi. I'm so sorry. Thank you all.
No worries at all whatsoever. I love that you showed those 2 different versions, Marsha, of those. So I thought I would hold up. This is what I've been focusing on here, this version of the tower, like the tower's already fallen. And I see this as portal energy. So if we can think of that change and transition as a new start, as a new way to be, it's a next step into a whole nother dimension. It can be, right? It's that changing of the escalator. So with the house of Libra, I wanted to use my deep deck here and pull a card here that is ruled by Venus. So the house of committed partnerships of all kinds. If we can get a card for our viewers, what changes in transition can our spiritual viewers expect in the life area of committed partnerships of all kinds? Empress energy, you got two there, bonus, and Six of Swords. So transition into a new life completely. This is the energy, whoopie dooies. This is the energy of spirit guiding you safe travels. And there's this stage energy here, which can denote that not everything is seen here. And this is just such a beautiful Empress here with the stars and the cosmos as her warmth. So if we can think of stepping into that portal, you have this support. You have this warmth here to step through and create. But we do have to leave behind the troubling things. We can't keep allowing ourselves to repeat the same troubles. Okay, and crossed by the Eight of Pentacles, it is going to require some strategy and planning, like the game of chess. And her feet are a compass there. You are using that information to become an expert at something. She's working on a needlepoint there. So we can expect that you are perfecting relationships, leaving bad habits behind, and stepping into your Empress energy, spiritual viewers. Let's look at the house of Scorpio here, bottom of the deck, randomly, Four of Swords, or excuse me, Four of Wands. That is 1111 energy. House of Scorpio is all of metamorphosis, deep changes. They could be things we hide from ourselves as well, things that are kind of stuck there in the psyche. So that is our shadow self. So what kind of changes and transitions can our spiritual viewers expect in the life area of our psyche, our hidden selves, our shadows? Could be a change of ethics, as well as morality and virtues. And we have, I love this version of the Five of Wands. So we got double fives here of change. So speaking of the tower moments, and in this deck here in the mermaid deck, rather than one person on the team fighting to be the winner and hog the ball like you would in whatever sport, right? This team is working together. Okay, so you can choose to work together with this metamorphosis within yourself rather than fighting it. And it is crossed by the Five of Pentacles, meaning that this is on offer. It's being given to us just because our eyes are obscured from view here with, we can't see it until we lift up our heads. This can be the weeping willow tree. It's kind of my whiskey lullaby tree, right? You don't have to follow that person into the grave. Okay, you can make the change in your own psyche. You don't have to follow it because help is available to you. The lights are on in the church. All you got to do is find the door.
Thank you, Angie. And I've got the 9th and 10th houses. And the 9th house, as you know, is all around expansiveness, ruled by Jupiter, who expands everything that he touches. Higher mind, higher level learning, expansion, travel, expansion of our belief systems and our values. You got a 2-for-1 special today because I had 2 cards fly out. The first one was the Wheel of Fortune. And consider this destiny on your path, divine timing, forward progression. But it was paired with the Knight of Cups, which can represent the Knight of Cups is the very romantic version of love, bringing messages of love. And I think if you step back and look at the 9th house, around our values and our beliefs. I think what's going on, and Don pointed this out very clearly about the new age of Aquarius, we're so accustomed from the third dimensional structures of navigating by how we think, not necessarily how we feel. And so I think this is a reminder and probably a disruptor. If you get a tower moment that shocks you to your core, that says, I can no longer think logically about moving and navigating ahead. I actually have to consider my heart. And as I look at my values and belief systems, do I need to look at my relationships, whether they be romantic, whether they be with families or friends? Do I need to look through the lens of love as opposed to going and staying in my head? And I think that's a disruptor of higher level learning, looking at relationships, our beliefs, and our values. There's an opportunity there to do it differently moving ahead. The 10th house is all around career achievement, around our professional perspective and career. It's ruled by Saturn, which is really linked to hard work and discipline. And I got two interesting cards that flew out as well. Another 2-for-1 special today. The first card that flew out was the 4 of Cups. And the 4 of Cups to me can represent, I'm a little bored here, not feeling it. It's just not jiving for me. So if you think about where you are in your career, a tower moment may be coming for you where you're not happy and you're not satisfied in what you're doing. And the second card that flew out was the Page of Wands, which is all around seeking a new passion, something new, learning something new, travel. So you may be sitting back in your career going, this isn't working for me, and I'm just not seeing it, not feeling it. And I want to go do something different. I want to follow my heart. I want to follow my passion. And something may come out of the blue in your career that allows that to happen. Now, that could be you get the notice that your company laid off a number of people and you're one of the impacted employees. We never know what may be coming down the pike, but sometimes dissatisfaction, boredom, and the need to find a new passion, closing one door with the tower moment oftentimes brings the door, and Dawn, you said this very elegantly, it brings the door open to where you should be going. And we always talk about our highest and greatest good. So I think it's an opportunity. If something comes out of the blue around career and you've really been itching to make a change, this is your sign that it's okay and you will survive and you will be the best and highest version of you. And with that, I'm going to pass it to Jenn.
All right, thank you, Ceree. So I have connected with every single one of these messages. Y'all guys have been just on it. All right, so I'm going to be talking about the 11th and 12th houses. So the 11th house is about the collective, but I see it as connected to your friend groups in this situation. So when I'm thinking about tower moments connected to the 11th house, I'm thinking this is when you lose like all your friends all at once. You're getting whole new friend groups. And so I pulled the 9 of air, which corresponds with the 9 of swords. And it says, your worries and fears aren't real. They're fueled by focusing on the negative, which gives power to that which you're afraid of. Stop worrying, let go of fear, and everything will be okay. And so the way that I have really connected with that in these situations where you might lose, people who were very important to you, is back to what it was saying in the channeled message about how are you viewing these situations? Are you understanding that, like, okay, so I connected it to different moments of my life where I had certain groups that I was in, and then just all of a sudden I was moved out of those groups and now I'm in new groups. Every time I went to the new group, even though I was sad to leave behind the old, I was always leveling up. So if you can just see it, instead of something to be worried about, stressed about, afraid of, as something that is bringing you to higher places, better, more alignment. So that's how I see connected with the tower moments on the 11th house. The 11th house, but for the 12th house, this is about our belief systems, and I think that we are definitely having a lot of people having challenges to their belief systems that they've held, just for their whole lives, and I think that that's going to continue to change with the energies that we've been having coming in. So I've got the Page of Earth, which connects to the Page of Pentacles. So I do think that we're going to have new opportunities coming in, and I felt it connected back with the changes coming in with our friend groups too. This says a wonderful opportunity related to your work or education, such as a promotion or scholarship, is coming your way. Seize the chance to learn something exciting or start a more rewarding or uplifting career. I still think that the changes that we are bringing in, because this is about manifesting in new opportunities. So when we get into our new groups, our new friend groups, we're going to have new conversations. And I think that that's going to be kind of what shifts our perspective to help bring in these new opportunities. So we're going to start seeing the opportunities because we haven't even been having these type of conversations before because, of our old connections. I think I'm rambling now. All right, so I'm going to stop there. All right. I'll pass it back to Ceree.
Yeah. And thanks to everyone who's been listening to our dialogue, because we as readers are very honored and thrilled to be working with one another. We've actually found each other. And so we are delighted, and we have so much fun when we're together, and we learn from one another. So I wanted to thank everyone for all of your inspiring comments. And I think I learn as a reader every time that we're together. Just some of the key messages. And I think that the theme of the tower is actually lovely, because things that happen to us are part of our path. And if we can look at the tower in a constructive way, we lead the change. Change does not lead us. And that we have the ability to be empowered to create the best and highest version of who we are. But that doesn't mean that it comes without some change. So as we look at the month of April, with the energetic shifts and transitions, Dawn, you talked about the eclipse has brought about an opportunity of great healing for many of us. And that as we move forward through this month, we need to set our intentions longer term. And of course, in setting those intentions, we do have some trigger moments, and to expect those. But those epiphanies actually help us on the path to being the best versions of ourselves and who we have chosen to become in this earth plane, in this great time of transition. And we talked about the end of the month, Mars moving into Aries, that it's a time of healing, but it's our go time. So it's okay to have the moments. It's okay to feel triggered. It's okay to set longer term intentions. But as we move into the month of May, it is go time and it's show time. So we have the opportunity to look at change through a new lens, and not to fear change, but to embrace it, because through that change, we all can become the souls that we wish to be. With that, we want to close our session for today, and to tell you that if you would like more information about all of us as Soulful Revolution readers, you can look at the description box below for more information on how to access us for our private readings. We also do, in addition to every third Friday, we post this monthly video. We do a daily video with themes for every day of the week, and they're a lot of fun and they're inspirational. And we hope that you will join us for any and all of those opportunities. With that, we will close for today. We're humbled and grateful for your time in spending with us. And again, we're very grateful for this opportunity to share with you some perspectives for the energies of April. And that's a wrap. Bye, everyone.